Welcome to my kitchen and welcome to Shelter Food and Beer. This is a coffee porter. Excellent. And this is air-dried aged beef. But is it? I've done my research on the whole air-dried beef thing, and it's quite complicated, and there are very differing opinions. The experts who dry it professionally for high-end restaurants and for big dollars take a large chunk of meat and put it in a very precise room with precise temperatures, air circulation for up to 3 months at a time. But this is simply sitting out in my home refrigerator for 5 days. Professionals, by using a big, huge portion of meat, can dry their meat out for a long period of time, cut away the bad parts, slice it into steaks, and you get a truly different steak experience. Now, as a home cook, you wouldn't want to use a whole prime rib, for instance, because, are you going to eat a whole prime rib? So people have been experimenting with single steak portions, and although you can't go the whole 3 months with it, I'm starting out with 5 days. My first experiments with aged beef was going into the local supermarket and looking at the clearance section where you see some meat tagged reduced for quick sale. What does that mean? That means that steak's been sitting around for a while and it's about a day, maybe two, away from being thrown out. So you get a better price on the meat, but it's still in its package, wrapped up, and you'll notice it's turned brown instead of red. It's got some greens, some blue coloring to it, and it is an aged beef. In a fresh steak like this ribeye, taking it out of its plastic wrapping and setting it on a rack over a dish of white rice in a separate compartment in my refrigerator where it's unmolested by odors and smells of the refrigerator. Our refrigerator happens to be very temperature controlled, and all the food is pretty much sealed up, so it's not getting a lot of refrigerator odor because there isn't any. But the professionals, they do it in a room just full of meat. I can tell with the 5-day experience just by looking at it, it could have gone a couple more days, because basically it's kept its color. It's starting to get a little darker. It has a few little brown spots over here. Other than that, it's a normal steak. Nothing funky on this steak after 5 days, so I'm not going to have to carve anything away from it. I'm going to cook it in a hot pan, flip it maybe 4 times. The lack of moisture should cause the steak to brown really nicely. The cooks on the cooking channel go by this method of aged air-dried beef by doing it in like a 7-day, 10-day period, wrapped in cheesecloth, and the experts, they say no, you don't start to break down into the really original flavor until 3 weeks to 3 months. But I'm not going to overthink this. This is one steak, 1 day in my life. If this works, we'll go from there.